Welcome.
Hi.
This is an Elvira thing I just came up with. I haven't done it once. This is my homegirl, roommate, my soulmate. You're like, damn, all that. Nadia.
Blocked.
I'm that one girl. We're not gonna say.
I'm like all the secrets
Yeah, I
come
get you
out.
just met. I live with you, ho. But yeah, this is Nadia. She is a bruja on the side, but a full time.
You're gonna have to cut this.
I'm not
so
cutting
stiff.
shit.
I made no eye contact with the camera the whole time. You're just vibing.
I know, right? So, this is Nadia, aka Pearl,
Making popcorn.
right? aka Popcorn. Um, and we are going to be talking about her ghost stories and then some of our spiritual beliefs and how it connects into the ghost realm. Sound effects, come on. So let's start with, we're going to start off strong, right? So I want to hear some of your ghost experiences.
Okay.
Whatever you're comfortable sharing with us.
I'm gonna have to take a shot.
Okay.
So I want to say that the most memorable or the first actual big ghost experience that I had was when I was about 5 years old. We lived in some apartments. It was here in Vegas. It was at Ghost Charleston area. But so when I was little, there was these figures that would basically walk through the house, and I thought it was normal.
Yeah.
They sounds so scary now.
I know.
Yeah, these figures. No, but basically, there was a bathroom that had 3 doors. So it was one that led to my bedroom, one that led to my mom's bedroom, and one that led through the living room. And when it would be open, I would be sitting on the couch, and like, let's say the door's open, I would look over, and in the hallway it'd be dark with no lights.
Yeah.
And I would see kind of like these two silhouettes. It was a man and a woman silhouette, and they were just like they looked like energy because the silhouette had it had vibrancy to it, but they were completely black at the same time.
Oh, okay.
And basically, I would see them walk through that hallway all the time, and like it was normal to me. I would never see them around the house. It was mainly, like I said, in the dark hallway. And it wasn't until one day that I'm watching TV and I'm there, and then when you see someone through your peripherals, I see them, and this time they're having a conversation.
Oh.
And they're very animated, like using their hands, and they're literally just there talking to each other.
Yeah.
And I'm staring at them, and next thing you know, he froze.
Because you're like, you guys could never see me this whole time.
That was the first time that they ever acknowledged me.
Right.
And it literally, I didn't even know what to do. I just couldn't believe that they actually looked at me for the first time, and they stayed looking at me. And at this point, I just kept I'm like, I don't see you guys.
Yeah. Which I would have dipped out.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know, I just go back to watching Blue's Clues or whatever was on TV. Because I'm just like, okay, that was scary. And then I turn back, and then I see them go their ways or whatever. And after that, I don't remember too much, but I just remember it wasn't as frequent anymore.
So when you would see them before you saw them having the actual conversation, were they just walking past each other, or were they always together?
Yeah, they would walk past each other. Sometimes they'd only be one, sometimes be one or the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, they'd always just be going from one place to the other.
Okay.
Which was...
And this time they actually like met up and were like,
yeah,
hey,
they
you live
fully,
here?
Yeah, they fully were stopped in the doorway.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was like the woman and the man, and just fully like this. I mean, I can't hear anything, but I just see these two silhouettes fully engaging in a conversation. And just this little kid just staring at them for a good minute until they both, I swear, they turned, and I was just, wow, like they saw me.
So the way they turned, did you feel the energy was like, why are you looking at us?
It was just one of those things where you're staring at someone and you're not supposed to. It was just like, what are you looking at?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Okay.
I would never say those energies specifically felt malicious or negative, But the fact that, I mean, they were normal to me, you know,
Yeah.
because I saw them so frequently, I never questioned it
Mm-hmm.
because they also never bothered me.
Right.
But then when they finally acknowledged me, that's when it kind of got scary. And it was like,
Oh,
okay, yeah, maybe this isn't normal.
right.
Maybe they shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's
yeah.
a good one. And I think it falls in line with your life and like the things you could feel and see. And we'll get into that later. But I think that you are someone who could genuinely feel and see energies. Not, I feel like we all commonly say like, oh yeah, I feel this person's energy, and maybe some people aren't as connected, but I feel like you do just I mean, I've been living with you and I've been seeing and hearing and all this stuff that for me, I truly believe that you were able to see those energies when you were 5.
No, definitely. I feel
Yeah.
like ever since then, I have just been, I wouldn't say like too aware, because obviously I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
but just those things have always come natural. You know,
Yeah.
it's never been a second, like you want to question it because it's not talked about, or
Mm-hmm.
it's not, like you can't go on a scientific book and actually
Right.
prove like, oh, is this real, or get some
Mm-hmm.
actual facts on it.
Uh-huh.
So basically, so tying back into that apartment,
Mm-hmm.
I remember there was times where, I mean, my room that I had there, it was just not, I never liked to be in it.
Yeah.
It was me, my mom, and my younger brother that lived there at the time, and she was pregnant with my sister.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad would travel for work a lot, so a lot of times it was just us. And I
Yeah.
was the oldest, and I was like under anywhere from like 5 to 7 at the time that we lived there.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I had my own room because my brother would be in my mom's room. But I literally always avoided that. I just had a thick, heavy energy, like
Oh.
always.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there was times where there was one time where my mom, like, she heard the bags in the kitchen rustling and everything, and like
Yeah.
the pans and everything, where she swore somebody had broken in the house.
Mm.
And at that point, she called my uncle who lived in the apartment like right across from ours.
Yeah.
So he immediately ran over. He had a key to the apartment and everything, and like he immediately ran in, and like it was dead quiet, empty, nothing.
Oh, what?
And she swore like there was somebody in the kitchen, like completely moving the pots and the pans and like the bags and everything. But
Mm.
no, there was nothing.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times there was a lot of instances like that where we would hear things around the apartment, or
Yeah.
just little things would go missing, or I don't know, like would be moved, and like it's like, okay, but we just put that there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and like one time I remember like I fell asleep, and I wake up in the middle of the night, and I just remember seeing like these like little red beady eyes.
Mm.
And that was it. I wake up, and the next day I'm in my bed, in my
Oh.
room,
Yeah.
which, mind you, I never wanted, like if it was voluntarily, I didn't really sleep in
So
that
where were
room.
you sleeping when you saw the beady eyes?
I fell asleep in the living
Oh,
room,
okay.
like I was watching something.
Yeah.
And normally I would go to sleep in my mom's room,
Mm-hmm.
but this time I fell asleep on the couch. And again, my dad's out of town, and my mom's like pregnant,
Yeah.
so there's no way she went and picked me up
Right.
and took me to bed. But I remember waking up in my room and just being like,
Creepy.
"Who put me here?" Because
Yeah.
again, voluntarily, I would have gone to my mother's, not gone to my bedroom.
Right.
But I do remember that I was like, okay, was that a dream or
Mm-hmm.
not? But yeah, I was like, these are red little creepy eyes.
Oh.
And yeah, definitely that whole apartment had really weird vibes.
Yeah, I'm like sitting here trying to put like a storyline together of what might have happened in that house, that there was like so much rustling in the kitchen, and
Right.
then like that there's bad energy in that room, whether it was like maybe someone's slowly dying, as creepy as it sounds, but like that energy
Right.
was left in that room.
No,
Yeah.
definitely. Because even then, like, I felt like there was like kind of like a portal kind of vibe, just because
Hmm.
again of those things that would go, like those energies that would walk
Yeah.
from like through the hallways. It was just because I wouldn't necessarily say that they were going into the rooms. I
Mm.
would feel like the second they were out of sight, like they were gone. Because it's not like they
Oh.
lingered around the house.
So now I'm wondering, are those energies, it was for the most part two, you said, right?
Yes.
Do you think they were always the same people, like crossing
I want to
through
say
a
yes,
portal?
that it was
Yeah.
always the same man and always the same woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I just say that because the build,
Yeah.
like it was just, they had the same build
Right.
always. And by size they were the same
Mm-hmm.
mannerism, like
Yeah.
we all have our own posture, our own mannerism
Exactly.
or
The way we
movements.
walk and yeah.
Yeah, the way they would talk, like it
Mm-hmm.
was always the same man and woman.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, they were just I don't know, living their life within our life, you know?
I
Like
love this.
it's pretty insane.
This is a good one I haven't talked about in this series at all. Portals. Do we think, and we could just brush over it, but how do you think a portal is open in a home?
Oh, I mean, I feel like how you're saying that there, I do believe that there's different kinds of portal for different things. I think maybe it depends. Like it could be something that like is it haunted? Is it scary? Or is it like what is it a spiritual thing or like what happened here? I guess like there's those cases where it could be just energy that got stuck there just because there was either like something tragic that happened or there was a lot of sorrow, a lot of heaviness, and it just kept something there. And then there's just like spirituality. There's people that practice spirituality or they're very open to it, but they don't use protection. And then they bring things in with them or they open things and they don't know how to close them.
That's so true.
And it could be as simple as buying a thrifted mirror.
Yeah.
Like we talk about that. And it's
That's
like you bring something from somewhere, you don't even know where it came from or what it had or what it was used for. Now it's in your home.
Yeah, and that could be used as a portal, right? Like it's an open portal, this mirror that you bought and you don't even know that.
Right.
So that's a really great point. So yeah, there's different ways of portals can be created. I'm wondering if we, before we die, are able to choose if we want to come back and forth into this realm. So like that way we're creating like a portal if we do want to continue to like visit our loved ones or whatever.
I feel like dreams could also be a really big one.
Yeah.
Like I feel like me personally with my dreams over the years when I've learned to kind of pay attention to them more and everything, they've definitely have been I would say like a portal to the spiritual realm, you know, because it's like you go somewhere and sometimes my dreams are very relevant to the real world. Or I feel like I get these little messages that then come true or that mean something.
Yeah.
And there's been times where I've asked for like, you know, it's like you ask for a sign or something, or you reach out to your spirit guides or to your ancestor, whoever it is that you feel guides you.
Yeah.
And that was like validity of it for me. I remember there was one specific time a few years ago when I saw I was going through like this big old spiritual awakening where I saw I'm like, I'm one. Like I get it. But I just definitely did have a lot of worry on my mind to where I was coming from like this one period in my life transitioning into another. And I just really needed that validation from like bigger power that everything was going to be okay.
Yeah.
I felt like I had been doing everything right up until that point, but I couldn't get that worry like out of me. And before bed, I went to sleep on the couch in the living room. Right before, I did sit up and I did kind of say my prayers. And overall, I asked for a sign. And you know, you kind of wait there and you're like waiting for something to fall or something. And you're just kind of like, okay, well, whatever, I guess not.
Yeah.
And then I went to bed. But then the next morning, so I wake up, I had this gorgeous dream to where it literally was it was my whole living room setup.
Yeah.
To where I fell asleep, my couch is right there. I'm on the couch. I remember sitting up and then like to my left was my dining area. And everything was intact as if I was there.
Yeah.
And there was just like this beautiful white light coming. And I look over and it's like this beautiful white owl. And it's just like glistening and it's gorgeous. And I just remember looking over at it and just feeling the sense of peace.
Oh, I love
and just
that.
feeling very like I was assured. Like this was it. This is what I asked for and this is it.
Like an ancestor visited.
Exactly. Like it felt so familiar and just so at peace. Like that was the checkpoint that I was asking for.
Yeah.
And at that point in the dream, I had like let up my arm and it flew over to me and it just like landed on me.
Oh, wow. That's so beautiful.
It honestly was so calming, so beautiful. And it was just like, wow, like I was in awe of the dream itself. To before, you know, right before bed, you don't always remember what you were thinking last. But I was like, oh my God, like I had asked for this. Like, that was what I asked for. Yeah, after that, my dreams became more like communicative with me. After that, I definitely felt like I was very open to things.
Yeah.
It definitely, I was like, I tapped into something. And it was different.
Yeah, you opened like a part in your mind that was like open to like allowing these things to visit or
like to flow through. Like to flow through and kind of guide me now. And it's kind of like I'm open to this energy that's around me all the time, but now I can see it in a sense. and that was really nice. I mean,
Yeah.
that definitely was one of the times in my life where I felt the most connected to spirit.
Oh.
And definitely it was lovely.
So it's crazy. I know this would happen talking to you, but this just brought up another point that I want to touch up on. So I would like to get into a little bit of that, and I know we're doing a little bit of everything, and we could go for hours on each
Yeah.
topic. Okay, so going back to your dream and how you were like at a good place at that time, and you were able to tap into that spot. How do you think it is for you when you're dreaming or when you're not in a good place?
Yeah, so I feel definitely like mental and like your mental health and
Yeah.
just where you're at mentally definitely has an impact where you are with spirituality and energies and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I mean, I definitely feel like when it comes to like spirit world or any type of energy work, the energy that you're putting out is the energy that you're going to be attracting.
Yeah.
So I want to say if you are in a lower place mentally, then you are more susceptible to
Mm-hmm.
lower beings, lower vibrations, lower
Yeah.
things that will, find that familiar energy. So taking it back to when I feel like I was in that place,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I was like in this very transition place in my life to where I was doing so good. I
Yeah.
was riding a high that I felt that was reciprocated.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to connect and tap in with that mutual energy
Right.
versus there's been those times where I definitely feel like I'm going through lows and
Mm-hmm.
I cannot tap into that energy. It's like
Oh.
I'm no longer compatible at that time. But basically, yeah, like if you are in good spirits, you attract good spirits. If
Mm-hmm.
you are not doing the best, sometimes I feel like some people don't, it's not even them.
Yeah.
Like when it comes down to it, like I mean firsthand, like I used to experience depression and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. But there was a point in my life where it was very heavy
Mm-hmm.
and it was sometimes it wouldn't even feel like it was me personally, but I couldn't detach from it.
Yeah.
And there was a time I did go get my cards read,
Mm-hmm.
and at that point she did mention that I had kind of like sticky energy.
Yeah.
And she basically mentioned that I mean some people are more susceptible to energies and
Mm-hmm.
like other beings and
Yeah.
ghosts and things like that, like spirit attachments basically. And it's not necessarily a bad thing because you
Right.
can definitely attract the good spirits. You can
Yeah.
definitely be open to the good spirits, but that goes in with mental health. If
Yeah.
you are not doing anything to get yourself out of negative spaces or you live in negative spaces, whether it's in your mind or around you, your actual environment, you can definitely be attracting like low vibrational spirits that then cling
Yes.
on to you, and then they can even like manipulate your head, your
Yeah.
thoughts, your moods, and
Mm-hmm.
now you're living this like sad and depressed life and like you're doing the best that you can,
Yeah.
but maybe not enough to do that jump that this connection stays and they get stronger and you get weaker kind of thing, and
Right.
not like crazy like it's possession
No,
or
I
like
think
anything like that, but I just definitely feel like there's energies all around us,
yeah.
and you can like again be more connected with the higher beings
Mm-hmm.
or unintentionally be around all this low vibrational energy and carry it
Yeah.
with you.
Right. And what I want to say is like I think the simplest way to explain that is I'm sure everyone's watched psychological horror, and I think that goes hand in hand with what you're saying. It's just kind of like when you're at a bad place in your mind, you can create all these horrible things that happen around you. And as we see in a lot of these psychological horrors, it ends up straight up being psychological.
Yeah,
Like
no,
it's not
definitely.
even happening, and it just leaves you questioning, like, did some things happen? And then that goes to my beliefs. Um, where it's I do believe that a lot of things can happen psychological, but I do think that they could also manifest, like physically manifest
Oh,
on this
definitely.
realm. And I believe, like you and I have mentioned in the past, that the veil thinnens to like whatever world, underworld, whatever you want
Mhm.
to call it, the spirit world. And it thinnens and it makes it easier for these energies to come through,
Mhm.
and then they could either physically manifest and torment you,
Mhm.
or it could all be psychological.
Right.
But I definitely believe in those two, like and they go hand in hand. When you're not at a good place, that's when you get attacked more or
Yeah.
like bugged more.
No, definitely. I feel
Yeah.
like it could even be physical. Like there's people that fall ill
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
now or like they get like these diseases or
Mhm.
these things in their body and now they're like it could have been like the healthiest person that fell
Yeah.
into depression that now their body is just turning against them.
Mhm.
And I definitely feel like that could be a part of it too.
Yeah.
Like yeah, there's just like genetics and then there's just like poor health and things like that, but I definitely feel like some of these things can be influences because again, if our psyche is not good, the body follows.
Mhm.
So it just becomes very susceptible to a
Right.
lot of negative things.
Yeah. That's a really good topic, and I think another one we could go on and on about.
Definitely. So like I'm
But
not elaborating anything.
but I would like to go back to if you have had any other like ghost experiences, paranormal experiences that you would want to share.
So when I was in Portland, this was a couple years ago.
As a Said, we went to a cemetery. It was like broad daylight. It was probably maybe like 3 p.m. in the afternoon or something, or 3 or 4 p.m. I don't know. But the sun was out. And it was a pretty old graveyard. Like most of the graves were probably early 1800s, some 1700s. So it was a pretty old graveyard.
Yeah.
Um, and it was pretty big as well, like pretty big. We kind of were walking around, just kind of like looking at the tombstones, appreciating the tombstones, looking at the ages, the names, and all of that. And then they had this memorial section where like they have like the memorial benches, and it was just kind of like an area for people to like to sit and enjoy, I guess, like their loved ones or just like a memorial area.
Yeah.
And we had decided to go there. We were just kind of standing around. I remember I sat on the bench and I was just kind of like looking over towards like the rest of the cemetery when like I'm directly looking at this one area and I see this little boy apparition.
Yeah.
He just completely in front of me, maybe like 40 feet away. He just ran and he was dressed in like this like old school clothing, like I want to say like a little like what you would think like paperboy, like an extra read all about it, like that's what he was dressed like. He had like the little paperboy hat, the long socks, the shorts. Like I completely saw him.
Yeah.
But it was very brief. Like I saw him mid run.
Yeah.
Like it was just he was just running somewhere. And like I tell Saeed, I'm like, I just saw a little boy ghost. And like I described exactly what he looked like, what he was wearing, and the age. I was like, he's about 10 years old. Like he looked like he was 10 years old or something, like 9 to 10 or something. So we walk over to that area, and as we get there, we're kind of looking around at the graves, and there was these two siblings that had passed away. One of them was a boy, and he passed away like early 1800.
Yeah.
It was like 1818 or something, and
Wow.
he died at 10 years old. And that kind of like just the timeline and the clothes and then the age, I'm like, that's who I saw. Like it was just this little boy running. Like it just was so crazy to me.
Damn.
And that was the most vivid like apparition I mean, besides like the silhouettes when I was little.
Yeah.
But again, those were just silhouettes of energy. This was like
you actually saw
a
person that lived in this
literally.
life. Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like, wow, like I really experienced that to where you want to psych yourself out and say like there's no way. But like if it wasn't for like Saeed being right there with me,
the grave with the little
boy. Like the fact that I was able to immediately tell someone like what I just experienced and saw, and then because when you say like imagine I would have said all these things that I saw, and then you see the grave, it's like I'm tricking myself or whatever into thinking that's what I saw.
Right.
But the fact that I was able to immediately tell like my boyfriend and like describe it, and then we both go and then we see this,
you
and
walk
it's like
to
the
an area
timeline
where you haven't walked into yet.
Right.
Yeah.
And then like the timeline and everything, it added up to what I saw. Like it was like historically accurate basically.
Wow.
So it was just like, wow, like that happened. I can't deny that it happened, even though like it sounds a little insane, because if anybody told you that, you'd be like, really? Can you really see that? Like one of those videos that you see where it's like, is it really real?
No. Yeah. But which videos? He said Nick's top 5.
Literally. La Llorona.
Right.
I'm like, look.
So did you take a photo of the grave, and did you or have you drawn the little boy?
No, neither.
No?
I mean, honestly, it was enough to have experienced it with another human being.
Yeah.
To have had like like that was proof enough that like I feel like I was just like in awe of that happening, and still kind of like is that my brain like kind of playing tricks on me? But it was just more so like an in the moment thing. I didn't think to take photos. I'm also not the best at taking photos of anything, but it was just, I think it
no, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What'd you ask?
I was gonna be like, you didn't take a photo of the grave.
That's what you asked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were trying to say I didn't chase the little boy with my camera.
No. I'm just like, I never think to reach for my phone.
Okay.
Like it's like I'm
I
not
got you.
I'm not like ever like aesthetic or like
no, I feel you.
I'm awful at that.
Okay.
I'm gonna be on some ghost hunters.
And it didn't feel like he was running from someone. It was he was just being playful.
It was just like a playful run. Like it's just literally a little kid, like, I don't know, running. There was no urgency to the run.
Oh, okay.
It was a lighthearted run, but just running, like back home or something.
Yeah. Oh.
And then seeing again that there was the grave of his sister, I would assume, because the same last names and around the same age. It's kind of like
they're playing.
I don't know. Yeah.
Other questions for you, and this is probably the last serious one we'll have, is how do you believe the spiritual world connects with the ghost realm? And the reason I ask is because like when you see a lot of like brujas evoking, I don't know, or like trying to connect, they do use like a lot of spiritual beliefs, but then within those spiritual beliefs, I feel like it has a connect with the universe and like the stars and the moon, and I would just like your perspective on that, because I know you're a person that reads a lot of books and you have a lot of knowledge in that. So I just want to know like what you believe in when it comes to that.
Yeah, well, I feel like there's, for every practice, there is a different belief behind it.
Yeah.
For everyone's personal practice, especially when you get into like brujeria, anything like that, witchcraft, because I mean, I feel like those two are different.
Yeah.
Everybody prays to something differently. Everybody worships something different. Everybody like offers something to something different.
Yeah.
And people have their deities, people have their gods, people have their manifestations, their prayers. Like I definitely feel like, me personally, I take a little bit of everything. I've recently kind of gotten back into researching my roots, kind of gotten back into like going into like Catholicism. Like I know I have my saints that I pray to.
Yeah.
Reading about like Catholicism and just growing up in it, a lot of it in a sense is witchcraft, is brujeria. Like we grow up with these saints that we worship and that we pray to for good luck, for love, for food. Like there's a saint for everything.
Yeah.
And essentially that's part of it. It's you pick a saint and you basically, it's kind of like that, you put your beliefs in them to guide you.
Yeah, you put
which then opens
it.
that energy or that portal, and then it's kind of like, well, you definitely have to do your part.
Yeah.
In order to achieve it, but then you also are asking for this guidance.
Yeah.
And it's like a mutual thing. It has to be like, again, the energy has to be in agreement for it to work, because when people put their faith into something, you're giving it power.
For sure.
So I mean, for me, like I said, I've gotten back into researching, just kind of getting more in depth with my roots, initially like being raised Catholic, and looking into all the saints and see which ones resonate with me.
Yeah.
And I've definitely taken things from there. There's like a lot of new age stuff, like having access to the internet. Obviously, there's so many things that you can look up, and whatever resonates. For me personally, I feel like that's the way that I practice things, because it's whatever feels good.
Yeah.
Whatever makes me feel like I'm connecting to my source.
Yeah.
Is how I go about things. Sometimes it could be something as simple as lighting a white candle and envisioning white light around you.
Yeah.
And that's cleansing. It could be also something as I'm going to bed, and right before bed, like I make a prayer to like La Virgencita.
Yeah.
Or like San Benito, depending on what I need. It's like if I want protection, or if I just want to say my gratitude or anything like that. And then again, it's establishing that connection and then living in that energy for the next few days until whatever I asked for is completed. And that's whether, again, it's not necessarily like material things. It's like, for me personally, it's a lot of like like mindfulness, mindful things
Yeah.
that I can practice on a daily that help me evolve to become a better person.
Right.
And like I've mentioned to you, when it comes to witchcraft and things like that, I mean, I don't want to say that I actively practice anything like that, but I definitely like to get into like cleansing. Like I definitely like magia blanca, like just clean energy and just things like, again, like our parents growing up, it's like you're sick, well, like here's like a sopita, and like, you know, like te pegaste, well, sana colita de rana, you know, like all those little things, like like little enchantments that make things better.
Right.
And just I go about things like that, just whatever makes me feel lighter.
And like in the past, we have used the universe and the moon specifically.
Like the moon is a big one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you want to tell us about that one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
me forgetting everything. Yeah, no, like I definitely follow the moon, or like the cycles of the moon. Obviously, the new moon being the new moon and the full moon being some of the most popular. But then when you can actually research into the moon phases, each moon phase serves a purpose. And there's like I like the energy of the moon. I've noticed it had always affected me. I remember for years, it wasn't until one day it clicked, I guess, but looking back, it was ongoing for years that I would always get anxious. And then it'd be like, oh, I'm really anxious. I'm extra anxious all of a sudden. And then all of a sudden it would be around a full moon, but it never necessarily clicked until one day I'm just there thinking about how I'm anxious. There's a full moon, and then, you know, it goes back to Latin roots of like a lunatic. And then I remember reading that back in the day, you know, like how mental health was so taboo that everybody would go to a friggin' psych ward for anything. And it kind of went into like women becoming hysterical or people becoming hysterical, which then it got me thinking into like the term lunatic, and then looking into it, and it was just kind of like the thought that people became like erratic and crazy during a full moon. And I was like, well, that's kind of valid because now that I'm thinking and I'm connecting it to every single time that it has happened. And then I'm like, well, what is anxiety but like energy, unknown energy?
Exactly.
And then which gets you thinking, well, if the moon controls the waves and like we're made out of 70% water, like why isn't it influencing us? Like it influences the world. It's not crazy to think that the moon influences our bodies, our minds. So after that, I made the connection that I'm like, you know what? It's not anxiety. It's just misinterpreted energy. And ever since then, like for the most part, I have become aware of that energy. And instead of using it, like instead of just letting it be there and I'm just like, what's happening? I've learned to be like, this is a time to reflect on the things that are actually like stuck and making me feel this way. Because normally anxiety, or it's, I feel like it's like this, just like this energy that's in your body that wants to get out. And full moons are a great time to release release all of that. So it's like now it's a lot of time to like look within and just like introspect on what is that actual feeling. And I've learned to use that time to let go. And I've become such a lighter person for it. I mean, even like I was mentioning to you how like a couple moons ago, we kind of went into that, and ever since then, everything that I put into that feeling, I don't feel like I carry it with me anymore. Like I decided to let it go and I gave it to the moon and she took it. And I feel again so much lighter for it. Definitely transformative energy.
I love that. And what I will add to the moon is I feel like within also myself growing up, I also felt all the energy from the moon. And this is why I feel like you and I are very like minded in a lot of ways with our experiences, right? And like I feel like we always connect in our beliefs and the way we see the world. Um, and I do almost feel like when we feel as intense about the moon growing up, I almost looked at it as a bad thing when I would see a full moon because I would worry. It was a constant worry, a constant anxiety, and I just didn't know what to feel. And I was like almost thinking like, does the moon really fuck with me? You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I feel like the way I look at it now is like this full moon, it creates this energy within you, like it's almost boiling all the bad energy that has happened through the month. And then once it's constantly like releasing it, or you can choose to release it, kind of like the method you used. Or if you really don't pay attention and you kind of get scared of it, then it's things that suppress and stay within your body.
Right. No, definitely.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I completely agree with the whole like you as like a kid growing up and thinking like, okay, what is this? You know, like does it not like me? What does it
Right.
want? You know, and it's again, it's just unknown territory. We're
Yeah.
not we weren't open to it necessarily.
Right.
So it felt like more like a punishment than like energy passing. It's like
Yeah.
we ourselves were our own blockages. But I mean, it's like as children, you don't know. But the
Look, you brought the big ass. No, Shari always comes through with the best snacks.
yeah, look at this. What
And
you
we've been going off. Yeah, it's been both of us.
I'm like, what you ate?
But honestly, and we told each other we all told the count. Not this week.
Okay, but who ate all of this?
I forgot today.
You me pegaste?
Okay, so I have a couple of questions for you.
No.
What should I ask you?
Nothing.
Um, what is your favorite Halloween thing to do here in town?
Ooh, to do?
Yeah.
Mm,
Or you have any traditions, or is there any like fun places you like to go to?
not necessarily. I mean, since I had Adrian, I take him trick or treating.
Mm-hmm.
So for the most part, I've gone trick or treating for the past 6, 7 years.
Yeah. And it looks like all the good horror shit's in LA, huh?
Yeah, for the most part. Like in LA, I love going to the Burbank Museum at the Mystic Museum.
Oh yeah.
Right now I just saw they had a whole like interactive like horror house at what is it? The where they have Substance every year. The Los Angeles Theater. Is that
Oh yeah,
it?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like it looked dope. But
Yeah.
Vegas wise, I don't know. I haven't done anything too exciting. Like
Which,
I'll hit a pumpkin patch. Like I
yeah.
want to do the Moapa.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
we're
like
gonna
that
do for
sounds
sure.
spooky,
It
but
is so good. The haunted corn maze
mhm.
is so scary. I don't remember being in a good haunted house in a while where I was genuinely scared,
Right.
especially here in Vegas.
Yeah, no,
Like
yeah,
we
they're
don't go
just
all out.
it's just lights and it's little rooms and then
Yeah,
some streamers. You're like, okay. I mean, which I love scary stuff. I don't like being scared, but I think it's funny at the same time. So when it comes to like haunted houses and things like that, I'm like, no, but like at the same time I want to be there. Like it's
yeah.
fun. Like it's I don't know. I love like panic laughing.
Oh, I
Like
love
it's kind of
that.
like a roller coaster. Like
Yeah,
I
it's my
hate
favorite.
heights. I completely am terrified of heights, but I think it's the funniest thing when you're on it because like what can you do? You
Exactly.
just gotta laugh it off.
My last question for you,
Mm.
and thank you for this really fucking good episode because you told us so much. Um,
Like good in theory.
no, it's the best.
Mm.
I say that to everybody.
Yeah, I heard it.
So, the last question is, you're gonna come back as a ghost or a creature in the afterlife. What would that look like?
Like any creature
Whatever
or
you want to be. You could be anything coming back into this realm.
I probably have to stick with my first thought, which was a vampire.
Ooh.
Just I feel like one thing that I in this life I wish I had was more time.
Yeah.
And I wish I didn't have to sleep.
Oh my God.
There's so much
Yes.
that I would like to do, and there's such little time.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel
They
like
constantly complain about that, huh?
yeah, like there's not enough time in the day,
Yeah.
especially as a creative. I
And
feel
we
like
keep pushing staying up late because we want to like
literally
do crazy shit.
like
And like we feel creative.
no,
Sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
it's like, do we want to be beautiful or creative?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
literally, like, I wish I didn't have to sleep. I wish I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have to work early or sleep because, yeah, like, I feel like I come alive the most at night.
Yeah.
That's when all the ideas are going. I just definitely would feel like a vampire life. I know they say, like, it gets old and, like, all of that. Well, I'll get a new hobby every couple hundreds of
Yeah,
years. Or, like,
exactly.
and I love changing my style all the time. Like you'll
Mm-hmm.
never have the same style like 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lifetime of different vampire fits.
Different
Like
lives.
yes.
Like it's like
yes.
just returning like reincarnation, but you already know you've been
Right.
here.
I'm like,
You got all the knowledge in the world.
yeah, I'm like all my homies died. Time to go somewhere
Yeah,
else.
exactly.
Like
Meet some other people.
literally different part of the world.
Yeah.
New life.
Exactly.
I'll be back in 100
No,
years.
I do like that one.
Yeah, no, I
Yes.
mean it's probably a basic one, but I
Yeah.
don't know. I definitely feel like they have it going on.
I do like that one, and I think you'll meet Saeed in the afterlife too, because if I'm not mistaken, he is also a vampire when he comes back.
Maybe.
According to his answer. But okay, well, thank you so much for a really good episode. I don't know why I'm doing this. Oh, because it's like I'm presenting you. But do you want to?
I talk to you all the time.
Yeah.
Into the fucking camera.
You said fuck you, camera.
It's just to hide
You
it.
said, can you cover her? You're good, babe. I think it's going great.
Hey, first time
Yeah.
I've ever been in front of a video
Yeah.
camera. And I don't want people do this. Like, I'm gonna get a shot. Like, you know, when you're a little kid, like,
Yeah.
you got the jeringa, you're like,
Right.
no! You're like, it's not that bad. You're like, yes, it is! And like, they already did it, and you're like, oh.
This will be in your episode.